Hood's in a very important spot, guys. We have pulled back to this number one area, value being this golden ascending trend line. Hence, the last time we touched this trend line, we've seen a very quick surge in stock price, about 28% in a week. Are we going to see that mirrored leg image push us to these upper levels and once again give another crack at all-time high and get the stair step like effect continuing to play out? With that being said, guys, my name is Dylan from Dylan's Trades. We're going to analyze the stock chart, looking at the weekly, the daily, and the hourly, getting a very full scope gauge for what stock price will do. With that being said, guys, let's get straight into the technical analysis. First, going over to the weekly. So from the weekly, right now we get a very zoomed out perspective. We're looking at the last 4 years. And what's very prevalent with Hood, of course, is that Hood has picked up momentum a lot, really continuing to start from that 2024 duration. We've seen a lot of dull price action, a very negative downtrend. This is not a good sign at all, obviously, to see a stock IPO, right, lose its low from this point, come down here, consolidate, give it a good test, and then went short. A lot of short money pushed it down to a downtrend into a long-term consolidation. We get this bull flag, very nice look here, healthy. We channel, we're at this channel, we target the top of this, we break over that, and that gave a nice momentum for the bulls to get that surge out of this very dull activity that was about 4 or 5 trade months, right? We get over that. We're still chopping around, consolidating, now entering a uptrend, exiting that phase from a downtrend, consolidation now to uptrend, and then you have the handle, guys. This is a cup and handle, very, very simple stuff, right? We did see the cup and handle, this one being a U-esque handle meeting over the top, and then the breakout being right there. Hence the U, and then a revisit at the top and a breakout. So since that, guys, that is important to note that, stock price has been in a very interesting note of trend, right? We've been in a very negative downtrend and do okay, consolidation building, and then a uptrend, and then a dip, and then a breakout. And since that breakout, it's been parabolic. So Hood has been in a very historically strong trend. We've continued to mention this over the last few weeks, guys. When you get one of these very strong stocks that is pushing is a very parabolic region, like Palantir, like Hood, like there's a lot of stocks. You want to be careful if you're a short seller, just because these things can go up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent. And that's what we're seeing with Hood. So as of now, we're seeing a very obvious pause in momentum as we did push, as we tracked on the channel, multiple green weeks in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 green weeks in a row where price action kept going higher. Some weeks were just barely green, but you see a constant flip in momentum. Since flipping red, we were trying to squeeze over these highs, continuing that stair-step-like fashion, but did get cut short before pulling back into more consolidation. So as of now, the question is for Hood, where is this dull momentum going to lead you? More often than not, when you do get this kind of pause, you do get the upside, as the trend is your friend, guys. And it is going to be very hard to short, as we still have this area of value being this golden ascending trend line. And that will be the really one of the focal points for this analysis, moving to the daily and the hourly. But we're pulling back to that big spot, guys, where buyers have continually, each after week after week after week, step up with higher prices. And we did get a little bit extended from that, trying to go parabolic, shorting, right? Some short money got in the market, and now we're holding this level quite nice. You see in the weekly analysis a nice tight doji candle after 2 red candles going down, being another hammer candle. You know that the buyers are attempting to hold up, but now you're starting to see them win a little bit bigger, and that is good to see this early sign of success on the weekly, being that we have had 1 and 2 negative weeks before this. Now starting to get a little bit of strength, curling up, momentarily getting below this effect, guys. And it is nice when you see big wicks defended by a major ascending trend line, especially on a parabolic stock. We've seen a mirrored setup within Palantir, guys, right? Palantir is moving up with this ascending trend line, and we've seen this strong dip over here with this wick momentarily knifing below this. It was a little bit over like this. It did get moved a little bit, went a little bit below that, and that tricks out short money, guys, giving a squeeze up. And you can often see a parabolic surge off the setup. So we did see Palantir move from 133 to 190 at a peak after that. So as of now, Hood does have a very similar setup where we are moving in the weekly with a very, very clear ascending trend line where traders and long-term investors are watching. Right away, guys, what is clear to me, if we do lose this weekly low it's a very good chance that we will go move down and test that $100 to that $98 support. This has just been such an important duration where the buyers and the sellers were battling for many, many durations. We tracked Hood about a few months ago when we were pressing after once again pushing 11 green weeks in a row. Palantir has never done that ever, right? The market moves in phases. So we did start to see a pause at this $100 level, 1 week, two, right when we broke over that level. In 2-3 days, we pushed to 113. That's a 13% movement, guys, in less than a week, right? Then at that level, we did come down and hold this level. Now the buyers are defending. Now the buyers are defending it. We've seen the buyers defend that for multiple weeks at a time, and we just did that last week before pushing up, right? Multiple buyers defense. And in the past, we were sitting at this level with sellers rejecting at the top, holding these highs. So, it is a flip of a break and then a multiple week retest. It's not a bad sign at all, guys, to see a pullback, a break, a retest of that big psychological $100 level and a back test of this ascending trend line. There quite literally is multiple factors leading to this exact level where we should see Hood continuing to move up. If you do see a dip, once again, from the short-term perspective, with all these major measurements sitting right here, if you break below this week's low around that $104.50 level, around that rough $104.50, $105 level, you would expect easily a test once again to this $100 and $98 level. Maybe we get some more continuation and a hammer candle defense. We will see what happens as of now, but as of now, we got the technicals where, hey, we should see a quick bounce. We shouldn't see any delay, any wait. Should be quick. So if you don't see that, likely more often than not seeing the right reaction, the right positive effect in a big major area of value. We're seeing multiple weeks, guys. Each one of these candles is 1 week. We're seeing 1 week defend right at this level, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, 5 week. We've been following this channel dating back to April. So to see this still into play, on the technicals as of now, guys, it's very easy and simple to see as of here. We do believe that this hammer candle going momentarily below, giving that, short squeeze-like effect where short sellers might get in this position, trying to see that curl off. Now holding quite nicely, for the last 1, 2, 3 weeks, buyers defending these lows. Does seem appropriate, guys, flipping red to green with this nice tight candle that if we break over that high, over that $110 level, with some strength, we should be pushing and ultimately going to test that 117.70 right at these highs to push eventually towards that $125 level. And that does seem very appropriate for a price target. If you are to go long here, keep that in mind. So all in all, guys, on the weekly, a little bit longer than we wanted to do, but we've been in a parabolic duration and the momentum has died down, and the bulls and the bears have been battling at this $100 level. And as of now, the buyers are winning. They've done a very, very nice job with a higher close this week. Green tight candles, you more often than not see a very strong movement after this nice tight doji candle. As reminiscent, more of a hammer, but you see a slight indecision, but now we're flipping red to green. Nice spot to go here long. Alrighty, guys, on the daily analysis, we're going to go flip over here, being that this is more a medium-term gauge of what stock price should do. So as of now, guys, we see a very, interesting image. And for you guys who've been in the market for, a few years, you've seen this is a very common structure set up to see. And this does give a lot of nice momentum. So as of now, we're seeing stock price have that parabolic surge. And since then, breaking over these $100 highs, coming back to retest it for multiple weeks, being this nice tight wedge setup, guys. We're really, really bullish down here, seeing a lot of beautiful signs. We got that quick breakout till just rejecting this level for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row, coming down, retesting this level, exactly giving a double top. Then we went short, right? The stock price did drop to 100 before bouncing, momentarily dropping below this very big ascending channel. Once again, guys, these are the daily candles. So you see in multiple days defend this spot. So as of now, we're seeing the buyers do a very nice job. Momentarily have a very strong double top at these levels once again. Now getting a very strong recovery instantaneously at this $100 level, guys. We'll go and highlight that, a little bit brighter, as that $100 level is so key. I mean, we've continued to mention this week after week after week, and we've really seen it pause up nice, guys. So we're sitting at the number 2, biggest area of values being this, once again, this yellow ascending trend line we've been following since April, and this very key core $100 level getting a double back test and a momentarily wick below, beneath it. Once again, guys, when you see stock price curl down at a major level, starting to get pretty short, and then you get right over that. It's called a false breakdown, where you can get short money to go short, end up getting squeezed over these highs, which we're currently accumulating at. So really does lead out to 2 spots, guys, and that does make a very simple analysis. If we do break beneath that $104.50 level, it would make sense to come down and test this $100 zone once again. If we do bounce, which is the more likely situation, I'd say 8 times out of 10, very high probability here, that we break out of this accumulation we've had over the 5 days, holding at this ascending trend line, this yellow golden area value. We push up, we break over these highs we've been teasing at around that $110 zone, and then we break out and push up to these upper levels, being 113.40, and then the all-time high. And that really is one of the big gauges to watch with Robinhood markets. When we did press out at all-time high previously, around that $85 level, I believe, down here, we had this tracked out. We mentioned on the channel, we're sitting at all-time high. Be careful here if you're a short seller, because if we crack beneath, you could see a crazy squeeze up, something stupid. That's exactly what we've seen. We've seen a very quick surge up in about one day, about 13.5%. So we could see something identical, guys, if we do get the revisit of these highs and then a breakout. Once again, Hood is a very volatile, strong, parabolic stock with really no, pause in play as of now with a technical perspective. So with this nice, healthy pullback accumulation, once again, to this yellow ascending trend line, which has gotten us multiple dip buying opportunities in the past, as low as these lower levels being $70, $60. You got to love the pullback here. And, we do have a bull flag as set up once again, where last thing we want to know, we did have a nice tight squeeze with these lower highs pushing to that major level, just building energy, pushing, this major level, which once again, this $100 duration, which is a big level, right? We used that for the floor to really just build energy here and get really, really tight for about 3 weeks. Once we've seen the quick breakout, it was a strong movement, but short-lived, rejecting that after a 10% movement. Since then, we pulled into a very similar structure, guys. Notice how we have this, very tight structure, breakout. Now we have a very tight structure. So a little bit unorthodox as we were, pulling the same kind of clone movement, but seeing this very tight channel moving down, pulling back to this area value does give a very similar setup to last time. So once again, it is pretty atypical to see the breakout and then we curl back down. But hey, technical analysis isn't always textbook. It's not always one or the other way. That's why you have to be a very open-minded and have experience in this game, guys, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen is very similar structure. So as of now, a lot of spots, once again, on the daily are leading back to the weekly. Easy analysis for us. Keep an eye on that $104.50 duration. If we sustain price action below that strong, dropping from this yellow ascending trend line and this pocket of consolidation over the last 5 days, you have multiple measurements to test $100. And if you bounce from there, probably going higher once again, but we got to see, because this is a big level you do not want to see break. If you break this $100 level and then move to 98 and break $98, there is a very live short selling opportunity in play. Alrighty, guys, on the hourly, we're going to analyze the short-term perspective, as the medium and the long-term both definitely point to the upside with a very short-term potential vary in play. This could be as soon as tomorrow we start this next movement up to these upper levels, 113.40, and then testing that 117.70 where we topped out at that all-time high. So that is with the medium and the long-term analysis, but we're now in the short term and we see this channel even more clearly. Once again, guys, we had pretty much the mirrored setup. We're pulling back to this key core level within these lower highs, and you're just building energy here. The smart money's on the sidelines waiting to see. Some people like to accumulate in these lows for a setup. Don't hate that at all. It's more of an advanced setup. But as of now, once again, we're just building energy. Get the breakout. Money comes into play, pushing up before rejecting. Once again, and since then, within this double top, obvious top over here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10 hours over here, when previously pushing the zone were just parabolic, sprinting up. The momentum dies down, forming a head and shoulders, being the shoulder, the head, and then the other shoulder, breaking up the neckline, and then since there, we get the retest and a double top. So very nice recovery, guys. Once again, we did get quite bearish over here, but you did see the drop from the 113.40 level once we dropped this to $100, and a very strong recovery since then. So that has been a very common staple with Hood. Once again, when you see these pretty hardcore drops we tracked over here, we felt quite nice in this pocket of consolidation down here in this major zone. We ended up getting a little bit of upside, coming down, retesting before breaking out. But you get the point, guys. Typically we react well in a short term when you see a drop down. So we will continue to monitor this descending channel, as we have seen big breakouts in the past, leading to big price action. So we have seen stock price very obviously setting these lower highs pushing into these lower lows. And, although in nature we are in a downtrend in a very, very short term, the last, 6, 7 days, whatever, more or less it's been consolidation, not really dropping much in stock price. And once again, we're right at the top, guys. We break over that $110 level. Now we're breaking out of this descending channel. So you got to love when all the technicals are leading out to, hey, on the weekly analysis, we're in a very clear pause, starting to get some nice momentum, holding up at a very key spot. If we get over this high of this weekly candle at $110, likely to see continuation. You go over to the hourly, we have a descending channel, and the top of that is $110. Once again, guys, is there a possibility? Yes, this is a stock market where we get over $110, get to under 1050, come back down to retest it, and then maybe consolidate, fail. Right, then it's a different story, yes. But if you see a successful breakout and very positive momentum from here, from this point of view, you should be easily testing 113.40 and ultimately 117.70 from a little bit more of a medium term 3 to 4 or 5 day analysis perspective. So all in all, and the daily does equate to that as well. You've seen a very, pretty tight channel here. Not channel, but just consolidation. We bounced at the $100 level, pushed up, and we've kind of been in this little range here, guys, within this channel. So this is leading out to a very obvious spot, guys. We'll be keeping an eye on each side of this coin, being that $4.50 level, and then that $110 duration. If we see positive momentum either or way, should see a back test to $100 or a push likely to 117.70. That is going to be the more likely situation. Once again, guys, about 8 times out of 10, being that we've seen multiple back tests and respect to this level, and we're pulling back to 2 major zones, being the $100 level and ascending trend line. So all in all, guys, Robinhood Markets isn't a very interesting but simple analysis. Pulling back to multiple levels, you want to see the stock bounce at this very core spot if you are a buyer here, and we should see that coming to the next few days and or weeks. If you guys found any value within the video today, consider dropping a sub and a like. We will continue to monitor Robinhood Markets from a short, medium, and a long-term analysis. With that being said, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Thank you for watching the video. Have a good one, man. Peace.